Okay, time for some Resogun action. Single player, obviously. Now, I'm not going to go with Astrobot today. He's normally my favourite, but today I'm going to go over here. And who do we have? It's Brian Paul. He's got maximum boost because he's just had a freshly brewed pot of coffee. Or I could break out the big guns with Des. Maximum overdrive. Jeremy, now he's got low agility, but that's not surprising because he's sitting on the sofa and he's just using his DS4. Now God Cannon, his abilities are all the same. That's because we all know AJ has no weaknesses. He's brilliant at everything. It's a different story for Dave though. Poor Dave. It's not his fault. It's because of that crappy wind-up clockwork laptop of his. Well, let's see how he gets on, shall we? Here we go.
Save the last humans.
Why is he not moving? Dave, you're frozen. Dave? Dave? Dave!
This is Viewer Takeover. We film every Monday night. We bring it to YouTube every Tuesday. Last week was an exception to the rule, but that's why we say sometimes Tuesday, sometimes whenever we get around to it. My name is Brian Powell from this channel right here, PSVR, without parole. And this gentleman over here is AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
What's up, Brian? What's up, Game Cats?
Hey, no Dave today. Dave's internet is down. But you know what? It'd be even better if we just blamed it on his laptop. Because how awesome was that Viewer Takeover introduction?
That was amazing. I was literally in tears before this episode. I'm glad I kind of wiped them away, it seems. But no, that literally made my eyes water. If you pay attention to everything in that video, it is like 8 inside jokes, maybe some more that were done in that. Well done, Twitcher. Well
Absolutely.
done.
Shout out to Twitcher, the single player game cat, for that awesome Resogun introduction. If you want to introduce next week's show, well, we're getting caught up ever so slowly. Send your introduction to withoutparole@gmail.com.
Did he say that you could also, he's going to share those?
Yeah, I'm going to get in touch with him tonight, and by the time this show airs, hopefully, you're actually going to be able to use those characters on Resogun. You can go in and play. They're only available for a short amount of time when you upload them, I guess. So make sure you jump into Resogun this week and play it and play as your favorite without parole character. It's me, right? It's me.
Dave. Totally Dave.
Probably Dave. I don't know. I hear AJ has no weaknesses. Did you see that Buster sword? It was so good.
The Buster Sword and the metal sign.
Yeah.
Loved it, man.
Good stuff. But Twitcher's not the only person we want to thank. We also want to thank these people down here, these people in my lap. This is very strange. What are you doing in my lap? These are the people who went to patreon.com/withoutparole
games.
and they're giving us $1 or more every single week because they love us almost as much as we love them. You're the best. You want to support the channel, go to patreon.com/withoutparole games. We really thank you for it very much. AJ, who else do we want to thank this week?
Brian, we would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name on Google to something GameCat, something GameCat related, something GameCat adjacent, as you and something GameCat adjacent would like to say. And this week, we have 2 new GameCats to welcome to the GameCat Dojo. Starting with HJ's the Aussie #GameCat.
You know, I'm starting to think that PJ isn't Hotcake's real name.
Yeah, I'm starting to think so too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he changed it, you think? Maybe he's an HJ? We'll have to see. I mean, we might have to wait till next week. If he does it again to another J,
Yeah.
then he's just throwing us, then it's just a red herring. Like, it's all over the place.
I think Hotcakes is a bot. I think he is.
Hotcakes might be a bot.
Just a red herring. Right? He's like fuck this Aussie thing. He's a Russian red herring.
We're going to find that head.
Also,
We're
shout
gonna
out to
find that
everyone
head.
in Russia. Change your name to GameCat. Ruskies.
The other one we want to thank is Flame Hat, the Game Cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not good news for us.
It's like what happens when I use dandruff shampoo that like gives me a bad reaction. It's like my head's on fire.
I instantly think of Mega Man because if you remember, I don't think it was. No, I think it was Flame Man, who had like a helmet, and then like there was literally a flame sticking out. Not Heat Man, Flame Man. I think it was Mega Man.
There were so many different bosses in Mega Man games that that there was Heat Man and Flame Man. They were just like you could literally say anything and then man, and it's definitely a Mega Man boss somewhere. You'd be like Carpet Man.
Yeah.
Fucking.
It was Guts Man who was
see
a
that.
construction worker.
If you change your name to GameCat to show your love for Without Parole, make sure you put hashtag GameCat somewhere in the comments below so we can find you and give you a shout out on next week's show. But what we really do here, AJ, is what we just read people's comments and stuff, right? From the Discord,
Yes.
from Viewer Takeover, from the comments below. We put hashtag Viewer Takeover. Don't you like that I asked you and then just steamrolled you completely? I was like, AJ, what do we do here? But let me tell you what we do here.
Less work for me. I'm good with it.
So yeah, but make sure you join our Discord because you can leave your Viewer Takeover comments and questions in our Viewer Takeover channel over on our Discord. That link's in the description below, even further below my lap and this name right here. Or just, if you don't want to join our Discord because you're not fun at all, just put hashtag Viewer Takeover, all one word, in a comment below, and we will find it and maybe use it on next week's show. First comment comes to us from Billy Pod, the Game Cat. He writes, on PSVR this week, it seems like Sony and Microsoft are playing chicken and neither wants to be the first one to announce their next-gen console strategy. There have been there have been leaks, rumors, and speculation, but currently we have no official prices or release dates from either company. Why do you think this is? And with only 3 months, roughly, until launch, could this strategy backfire? Hashtag Viewer Takeover. AJ, could this strategy backfire? Actually, hold on. Why do you think this is? I forgot. I knew there was 2 questions in here. Why do you think this is?
Well, they are obviously, despite Xbox saying that they're not competing with PlayStation, they're still providing competition to them in like every single other way they can possibly think of, and that's definitely how a lot of the consumer market looks at it as well. Is that they are competing? There's like kind of the big 3. And yeah, they are. I think they want to prove a point. They don't want to like make the same mistake as this generation. Xbox doesn't, where they go out, say we're $500, and then Sony comes out and says
like
$400,
like an hour later, right?
Like literally.
Yeah.
It's not the best look.
Right.
So there are definitely. I think it's, in a way, it's smart, but I also think that they're being just 2 ridiculous children, and they need to get over it and just do their own thing, focus on themselves. Maybe they are waiting and will adjust the price. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, is it could have an effect on the price at the end of the day.
So these are like multi-billion-dollar corporations, and so a lot of people will point to that and say, guys, these are huge corporations. They can't just change the price when their competition announces the price to beat them. Like these things have all been in the works for such a long time. But as multi-billion-dollar corporations that need to succeed, right, and like that really want to outdo the other one, don't you think it'd be reasonable to say, oh, hey there, don't you think it'd be reasonable to say that maybe they can't change something at the last minute, but maybe they have 2 plans that they're going, well, depending on what our competition does, we're going to go with plan A or plan B. Like, I think that's the most reasonable thing here.
It is very possible, and I think it's safe to say that I kind of believe that both of these companies, regardless, are going to be successful. I don't think either one is in danger of not being successful this next generation coming up, because especially like PlayStation. I'm not familiar with Xbox. I got nothing against them though, but when it comes to PlayStation, everything's looking really good, and there's a lot of promise that's unknown in the future, but. To me, to the second part of this question is like, with only 3 months till launch, could this strategy backfire? I don't necessarily think it could backfire for anyone but us. But I do think you want to be careful. Like, you want to make sure you're taking the most advantage that you can of the moment. You want to give plenty of people time to pre-order stuff, and you could lose out by making that not available right now. But I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think this could backfire. I know a lot of people are chomping at the bit, being like, don't they want my money? Don't they want my pre-order? I was like, yeah, of course they do. But I mean, I think we already have a pretty good idea of, Sony probably knows roughly how many pre-orders they're going to get, and Xbox knows how many pre-orders they're going to get. And I think that if they announce pre-orders right now, like today, tomorrow, whatever, sometime this week, obviously that would be great, and we'd be really excited about that. But if it doesn't happen for another month and a half, 2 months, and they give you a solid month to get your pre-order in, I mean, I think the hype levels can be just as high in 2 months, probably way higher in 2 months, so that they're not going to actually lose out on any pre-orders. The only thing that could change is that Xbox come out of like left field or right field, whatever the analogy is, and say and announce something that we'd never heard of before, and say, hey, Halo Infinite slipped from our launch window, but here's this really awesome game that that'll totally take the place of it, and might take some of the attention away from PlayStation, or vice versa, right? The more time we wait, the more time both of these companies give people to switch teams.
Say no to change their mind.
Yeah.
The more time you have, it's just different though, right? Like maybe I just don't remember the launch of a console being so close to the thing. I mean, to me, it kind of makes sense because it's like, hey, you're going to be spending money right around the time that you're going to be getting the product. So in a way, it's not like that strange. But that being said, usually, yeah, this was all obviously. There's maybe the changes going on in the world and stuff have a lot to do with this as well.
Of course.
I'm sure that would have affected it, because I'm pretty sure in 2013.
That sounds right. It sounds like so long ago. Wow, it was so long ago.
It feels like it. But yeah, that I'm pretty sure they revealed like the price and everything at
E3, was it?
Yeah, it was E3. So it's a couple months difference.
Right.
Couple months difference.
So like middle of June, right? They announce it. They say, it's coming out on this date, and it's going to be this much money, and pre-orders will have right now. And you're like, oh, awesome! And it's just like this big, exciting event. And I feel like the longer we wait, it does feel like things are kind of, sorry, sirens on my end. Surprise, surprise. It does feel like things are fizzling out. Like, it's like we were so hyped when they revealed the hardware when we first saw the PlayStation 5, that if they had opened pre-orders right then and there, I just have a feeling that people would have flocked to it instead of like, I can't imagine their next big event where they announce that pre-orders are live and say, and here's the price of the console, unless they start dishing out crazy exclusives like Silent Hill that keeps getting rumored. Like, I can't see anything really beating that presentation that they already gave us. So I'm like, it just feels weird, right? Compared to 2013.
It feels very strange. That's definitely the main word. But yeah, imagine if they did have something huge like that, which that is a rumor thing,
right?
That they do have more like big announcements to go, and that they're waiting. Maybe it's that he who laughs last thing. Maybe they want the last laugh. They want the last word before pre-orders go live. Could be that as well.
I like that. It doesn't sound like Sony has anything to worry about. So my only concern, I guess, at this point is that I hope that the Sony of the PlayStation 2 era, the super cocky Sony that was like, we don't even have any competition. Everything's great. Everything's coming up roses. We got exclusive after exclusive, and everybody wants to make games for us. Then they go, and our next console is going to be really fucking expensive, right? And they're like, you'll get a second job to pay for it. I just don't want that, because PlayStation 4 was obviously ridiculously successful, and I don't want that same Sony to kind of like rear its ugly head again, and then suddenly we're like, oh, PlayStation 5 is $1,000. It's not, obviously, but that's
I don't think that's going to happen again. They would have to be. I know there is new management, but these are still like homegrown people. Yep. There's still a lot of the same people that are still there, that have been there for 20 years and stuff, and yeah, I think they learned their lesson the hard way. And that's why I've always said, I'm not against Xbox or anything, because of Xbox in that situation, capitalizing on that situation, they showed PlayStation how to do it right after that. And you have Xbox to thank for PlayStation getting their shit together, instead of being like, kind of having that attitude. If they have that attitude, yeah, they are doomed. But I don't think they
miss?
will.
Don't you miss the Sony, the PlayStation of the PS3 era, where it's like they were fighting tooth and nail, where it's like they were climbing up this fucking crazy rugged hill, and they were like, "We'll give you indies, we'll give you exclusives. Hold on a second, we promise you, we've got more." And they just kept delivering and delivering. I mean, it was nonstop. PlayStation 3 was a slow climb back to the top, and they fought their way there, fucking tooth and nail.
They did, and it was. I mean, it was awesome, man. It was, that was the generation that told me, like, it's great to buy a PlayStation because it only gets better as it goes on and on and on. You get more exclusives. We just had some exclusives. We just had like Dreams get VR support. We had Iron Man VR that just got support, and this is just VR. This is not even talking about Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, or
Right.
I don't, whatever the other one was.
There was a lot. There's been a lot. There's been so many.
My memory only goes back like a month or two. But no, it's and so yeah. So I've always just thought of it that way ever since that era. It was nice. They weren't perfect by the end of it.
Right.
But it was nice that they were like trying to give back, trying to show that, like, this is a product that you want. I think PlayStation 4 absolutely crushed anything PlayStation 3 could have ever imagined doing, in every single way. I can't think of in any way that PlayStation 3 was better than PlayStation 4.
I don't know, man. Those move light gun shooters were pretty fucking rad. Yep.
Yeah, but VR and
Oh, right, but VR. I forgot. All right, dude. You want to take the next question?
Yes, we've got Matombo 87 with the from Viewer Takeover, says #Viewer Takeover like a pro. Says, I'm incredibly hyped for Hitman 3, but I can't decide if I'd prefer the current standard controls with the DualShock or using the Move controllers. My major concern is how we as Agent 47 will move around the environment smoothly. I know how much Brian loves teleporting and click turning.
There must have been a sarcastic grin behind that one.
So I know how much Brian loves teleporting and clicking. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, quite a few things. First, I wanted to stop you in your tracks as you were reading it, because I was like, you can't decide if you prefer the DualShock to the Move controllers? Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 is my favorite PlayStation VR game. Suck it, Saints and Sinners. And they, it's got, I think it implemented DualShock 4 support amazingly well. Also, suck it, Saints and Sinners is total bullshit. I was all about that being number one on the top 25 list. But
Look at the last 4 videos on your channel. Tell me that again.
Right, it's all Saints and Sinners. It's all great. But we've seen great implementation of the DualShock 4. Some great head tracking for aiming, and it works so well. But that's a much different game. That's a much different game than Hitman. I think Hitman is so much more of a personal game. You're walking up and drugging people's drinks. You're walking up and you're strangling people. You're walking up and hitting them over the head like with something like a frying pan, right? And it's not all about like shooty. So I what I'm concerned about is that things that worked in Resident Evil, because it was just like the survival horror game, aren't going to work in this assassination game. I don't want to walk up to somebody and hit X and have this canned animation strangle them. I'm like, I want those to be my hands because I'm a fucking psychopath and I want to do the strangling myself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely don't want to just like trigger some animations. Anything when you're playing a VR game, 99% of the time when something like moves for you, it's usually not that great. I've been talking with Lipnox, who is excited for Hitman.
He
lot
was,
about
and then
lately.
he wasn't, and now he is again.
Yeah,
right.
And he was telling me how the controllers. My preferred method for DualShock 4 is absolutely that you move around with the body and stuff, and then you look to aim. That's always been my favorite way. Like you kind of look and then you press the button and it shoots. But the way that this is supposed to be is like when you're going around corners and stuff. Apparently, it uses like the gyros that are in the controller. And
yeah, they were saying a combination of everything: the gyros and the light tracking, like a combination of everything together, right?
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. we've already been shown like how many times that, every time somebody tries to make something up like this, it usually doesn't end very well. And usually the game launches and then right after that everybody complains about it so much that they add it, but by that time, it's a little too late.
Right. The message is already out.
Right. That being said, this game is not just VR only, so it would be okay regardless.
It would be okay regardless. So something that Motumbo87 asks that I'm very confused about. He says, my major concern is how as Agent 7 will move around the environment smoothly. Now, it's almost every move-controlled game still supports full locomotion now. There are very few games that rely only on teleportation these days. But it's kind of a standardized thing, and I've actually this is really funny because a lot of people, you always see either trolls or people that are just strongly opinionated be like, well, I picked up a Quest or I picked up PSVR and now that I have 2 analog sticks I can never go back. So last night I was doing my own thing and I picked up my Quest and I was like, you know what I want to play? I want to play Lies Beneath because I like horror games and this is a cool kind of like comic book style horror game. Of course, it uses 2 analog sticks, moving around the environment. And I'll tell you, I was like, this is actually any better. Like once you're used to the move control scheme on PlayStation VR, it's really second nature. I was walking around with the analog sticks, and I was like, yeah, this is good, and I can't wait until we have this, right? So that more people can jump into VR and not have to go, oh wait, I have to hold this button, and then these buttons over here turn. Like it's not user friendly, it's not beginner friendly, but it really isn't that big of a difference. And so I really urge everybody to fucking get your move controllers out and experiment with full locomotion. Try Skyrim. Try Saints and Sinners. Saints and Sinners is one of the best ones, right? And learn how to use full locomotion with move controllers because I guarantee you, you'll suddenly understand and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is great. Not only do I have 2 hands and I'm immersed in the world and doing my thing, but I'm also moving around freely, which is what you want from controllers, obviously.
I get comments every single day about how do you move in VR with the move controllers. And yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm tired of answering this question over and over. Yeah. Like I always reply, but I'm just like, I'm so tired of answering this. And it's not entirely their fault. It's not entirely developers' fault. I mean, it is the hardware, and there is no guideline for it. You are supposed to create your own controls, and there's people like Saints and Sinners that did it the right way, and they looked at every single game that did really well. Or they played everything and they were like, oh yeah, this is what we're going with. And then there's other ones like Golem, where you have to use a dual shock 4 in one hand and then a move controller in the other. And it's just like, and it doesn't matter how much we shout and scream at launch, before launch, before the game comes out. They won't take it seriously until the game releases. And then everyone's upset. And I really wish they would do this earlier, but it is what it is sometimes. But again, it's not entirely their fault because there is no standard. There is no, hey, press the move button. Look at the Media Molecule Dreams move controls. I hate the move controls in Dreams. Trigger to walk forward and then move button to turn left and right. They're bad. They're really bad. And I want to actually write them and be like, please, can you just change this to the move is the move button? But I get it's a hard concept. I think the bigger problem is the tracking, than thumbsticks. I think the tracking is much more of a problem. It's like you said, it needs to just be pick up and you use it, and you don't have to change your camera height, change your lighting, do all this stuff. It just needs to be pick up and play.
Yeah. But for anyone who doesn't get it though, for anyone who does not get it and was like, oh man, the move controllers suck, they really don't. Yeah, light tracking stinks if you don't have the perfect setup. So work on your setup, and the controls suck at first. So take some time and learn them. I don't want to be like, oh, it's your fault. It's the gamer's fault. It's user. It's not. It's really not. But this is what we have. And I want you to enjoy your games to their fullest potential. And so to do that, it requires a little effort on your part. And so I want you so please just do that, right? So we can all be on the same page and we can all be playing these awesome games together and not be like, oh, this sucks. No, just take some time. It doesn't suck.
It's not just that though. It also, again, it's not just them. The developers,
Yes.
take the time. I would call out developers before I call them out.
I 100%. You were like, it's not really their fault, right? But it is. It is, because we've got 4 years of evidence saying
Right.
this works, this doesn't. And if you don't want to play all those games, man, just tune into Without Parole, or tune into Dave Station, or tune into PSVR Underground. Like, tune into something and be like, hey, what are these guys talking about? You know, maybe like have this on in the background because we're fucking bitching about it every single week. So maybe if
Here
you
we
don't
are
want to go
again.
play 100 games, go listen to us talk about 100 games. And we'll save you thousands of hours, promise. All right, and the last question comes to us from Reth. Is it really 114? Did I cut off a number?
Hail
feel-
Cthulhu.
I feel like I cut off a number. Reth writes on the Discord.
1142.
1142. Reth 1142. He's got like 1,000 different names, but really, we just call him Reeth because we love him. On the hashtag, I'm assuming this was on Discord. It was on Discord. In the hashtag Viewer Takeover channel, he writes, if you could travel back in time and let your childhood self play one VR game, would you do it? And if so, what game would you pick?
I'm gonna let you go first because I need a second, and I already know your answer.
No, okay, you don't know my answer though, because obviously my
Oh.
my answer for every Viewer Takeover question is Resident Evil 7. But I've already used that today. So my real answer is going to be no. I wouldn't let my younger self play, because VR came around. AJ's got the exact same story, so I don't want to steal this from him, but because we have the same story when it comes to VR. Video games were like kind of getting stale. It was like the same shit day in, day out. And like we were going to play video games for the rest of our lives, right? But they weren't the same. They weren't as magical. They weren't as great as they used to be. The innovation wasn't really there. And only really truly amazing games, I know for me at least, would blow me out of the water. It took a very special game to do that. But games in general were losing their luster. And so I would hate for my younger self to experience VR, because that's the thing that saved me. You know, 4 years ago, I bought a VR headset, and suddenly games were magical again. They were new. And if I gave that to my younger self and let me know what was coming, something wouldn't have gone right. I would have been waiting my whole life for this magic moment, and I would have missed out on the amazingness of the Super Nintendo era or the PS1 era, and being like, when is this VR thing coming? You know, because PlayStation 1 was so good, and I loved each of the generational leaps. And it wasn't really until PlayStation 4 I started getting bored. And so I needed this. I needed VR at this exact time. So I wouldn't let myself play it. No.
I don't know how I can follow that answer, but I will say, hell yeah, I would. I'd be like, dude, look, I got like, why are you talking about Carnival still? That game sucked. Play this Rush of Blood game. Or I'd be like, dude, bro, check out this Astrobot game. This shit's amazing. This is like everything you've wanted in like 10, 15 years, because nothing's been as good as Tropical Freeze. I don't know when Tropical Freeze came out, but
That
really,
was like a Wii U game, wasn't it?
it was a Wii U game. I still have my Wii and I love it.
Are you only going back like 8 years to your childhood self? How I was thinking going back like 25 years.
I matured very quickly, okay? No, I have to agree with your answer though. That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's it.
But let the magic happen naturally. Yeah, man, that jump from 2D to 3D games was plenty magic enough for me. I don't want to disturb myself then. I was having a great time playing Soul Reaver and Metal Gear Solid and shit. I'm good.
If I was to give a second answer though, I gotta say, I might let myself go back and play Dreams in VR and be like,
I was thinking about that.
because honestly, when I was a kid, that was the last time I was interested in making games. Like I used to make games on paper. I'd draw them out. I'd draw the environments. I'd write. I'd draw the characters and come up with the story and everything. And so to give this vehicle to my younger self and be like, go make the fucking coolest game in the world. Like go do it because it's in VR and shit.
You'd have an amazing game by now.
By now, it would be incredible.
Imagine how good that would be.
Right? Oh my god, 25 years of Dreams creation.
It'd be like a 60-hour game.
People are like, you can't make Saints and Sinners in VR. Well, guess what? 12-year-old me started a long time ago, and it's done. It's finally done. Let's go play it. Right on. All right, man, we should probably wrap this up. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully Dave will be back up and running. His internet was down. So much love, Dave. Hopefully everything comes back on for you soon. Thank you again to Twitcher, the single player game cat, for that awesome viewer takeover introduction at the beginning of the show. Don't forget to send your viewer takeover introduction to withoutparole@gmail.com. Don't forget also, change your name to GameCat. Put hashtag GameCat in the comments below, because you love us almost as much as we love you. Also, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
And hit us up for just $1 or more every month. It means it's such a small amount to you. Hopefully, I really, really hope that's the case. If it's not, then please don't do it. But if it is just a small amount to you, we appreciate your dollar. AJ, let's get out of here, man. Let's get out of here. Let's go play some Mortal Blitz Combat Arena. Let's go play some Dreams.
Oh yeah.
Let's go fucking get that Saints and Sinners Platinum.
Sounds good, man. That sounds like a hell of a plan.
Excellent. Thank you, Cats. Thank you, AJ. This was Viewer Takeover. My name is Brian. We're out. Don't we all?
Problem.
They all have problems. Okay. All right, you ready to do this?
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. I don't. Oh, yeah, I want. Wouldn't it be great if I just fell out of the chair right now?
Battle stances.